Today is May 1st, and so we are going to proclaim May as Beef Month here in Nebraska. It's one of my favorite days of the year. I'm being joined by not only Steve Wellman, who's our Director for Agriculture here at the state of Nebraska, but also Mike Drennan, who's the President of the Nebraska Cattlemen's Association, and then Buck Wehrbein, who's the Chairman of the Nebraska Beef Council. We also have Emery Bosshammer, who is the Executive Director for the Beef Council, and Pete McClimate, who is the Executive Director for the Nebraska Cattlemen. And beef is an important part of our state and has been for a long, long time. It's part of our history, legacy, and tradition here in Nebraska that we've had the beef industry. Men and women, pioneers came here many years ago because we have the perfect environment for beef. And because of that long investment in the beef industry here in our state, we also have the best genetics, and of course, we also have the best people. Our ranchers do a fantastic job of raising the highest quality beef that you will find anywhere in the world. And that's why it's so exciting to be able to proclaim this as Beef Month. Beef is a big part of our overall industry here in the state. We all know agriculture is our biggest industry. Total ag receipts last year were about $21 billion. Well, the beef industry is usually about $6.5 billion. So it usually makes up about 30% of overall agricultural receipts and over half of all livestock receipts. So it's a big part of our industry. We are the #1 state for cattle on feed. We are the #1 state for commercial red meat production with over 8 billion pounds last year. We are #2 for all cattle and calves with something like 6.8 million head. So we truly are the beef state here in Nebraska. And that's why it's so much fun to be able to talk about this great industry. And of course, one of the great opportunities for this industry is to be able to grow it through exports. And this is one of the reasons why we do trade missions. So in February, I was in Mexico. I was in Mexico again last August. And Mexico is actually one of our top trade partners. The $138 million worth of beef exports to Mexico last year. And overall, Mexico is our #1 trading partner. But through opening up opportunities like with countries in Mexico, we have seen that our beef exports hit a record last year, $1.44 billion. And we already talked about having record numbers of cattle on feed. We had record numbers slaughtered, record number of steers inventory. 2018 was a great year for the beef industry here in Nebraska. We also saw that not only are we being able to expand markets in places like Mexico, Japan is our #1 market for beef, South Korea is #2, but we've also seen other markets grow tremendously. We saw, for example, that our exports to Singapore were up 57%. Our exports to the Philippines were up 78%. Our exports to, let's see, so what do we hit next? China was up 88%, and Indonesia was up 86%. So we had big increases in a lot of really key markets. Take that last one, Indonesia. That's like the world's 4th largest country. So if we can continue to grow that marketplace, that's a huge opportunity. So with all that having been said, I am going to sign our document here and make it official, proclaim it Beef Month here in Nebraska. And then what we will do is have Steve Wellman say a few words, and then we'll turn it over to our other speakers here, and we'll take a quick picture. And then what we'll do is if the press want to ask questions, we'll just kind of do it off to the side after we take the picture. But first things first, let's go ahead and make us official. It is now, once again, Beef Month here in Nebraska. And Steve, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Well, thank you, Governor. Happy Beef Month, everybody. All right. So just picture in your mind what you think of when you hear beef from Nebraska. Is it a bone-in ribeye sitting there on a plate, ready to put on a grill? Or is it a 3-pound chuck roast that's going to go in the pot, roast in the oven, and for a family dinner later on? Or is it hamburgers and friends over for an evening cookout? All those things are just some of the things that come to my mind, at least when I think about beef and what it is for us personally, and the nutritional value that the high-quality beef from Nebraska brings to everybody that enjoys it, either on a meal on your own, or whether it's a big family gathering and friends and neighbors and everybody that gets together for a cookout. One of the other things that I think about, though, too, is picture in your mind the families the multi-generations of the families, the ranchers, some of those generations that aren't with us anymore, but they were the pioneers that started building the genetic base that we enjoy today, that results in over 75% of all beef that goes to market either being choice or prime when it gets to the consumer. So we've seen an improvement in the end product. We've seen an improvement in the productivity of the ranchers and the use of their natural resources and how they conserve those natural resources here in Nebraska, which we're very blessed to have those resources here, but we're even more blessed to have the people that conserve those resources and help turn those resources into nutritious beef that feeds us for protein, iron, B vitamins, and those things that we all need to sustain life and to grow life and enjoy things as we go through our daily lives. The one thing as we look to international markets, as the governor mentioned, how we grow, we're really great on producing products here in Nebraska, whether it's beef or any of our other ag products, but we need the markets to go to. And one of the markets that we're going to focus in on for 2019 is Vietnam. So in September of this year, September 3rd through September 7th, Governor Ricketts will be leading a ag trade mission to Vietnam. And we've seen great explosive growth really in the Vietnam market. There's almost 100 million people there. The median age in Vietnam is about 31, so half of the population is younger than 31. The median age in the U.S. is about 38, and one of our key markets, Japan, the median age there is 47. So we're looking at, in Vietnam, we're looking at a market that's very young, very growing, economically growing, but in population growing also, and from the wide range of products that Nebraska offers for production and export, whether it be dry beans, beef, soybeans, corn, ethanol, we've seen a great growth from 2017 to 2018 in the amount of Nebraska products going to Vietnam. So I think we've conducted some emerging market program work there. I think we're really poised for Nebraska to see good growth continue, and that's why we want to have Governor Ricketts lead this trade mission for us, and industry will be invited, and others will have an announcement later, and invitations will go out for participation in that trade mission. With that, Mike, I'll turn it over to you, the Nebraska Cattlemen president.
Well, thank you, Steve. I'll tell you what, Steve did a great job, and Governor, I don't know about you, but I'm hungry. I mean, I can just smell and just think about that ribeye. So, Steve, thank you very much for that, and you took all my talking points about how great it was. But no, it's like Steve had mentioned. I mean, it's a rich, rich tradition across our state for generations and generations that have fully utilized the natural resources that Nebraska has. And then you go across the rolling sandhills, and they was made for grazing beef and raising beef out there. And it's one of the most phenomenal places in the world. I truly believe that. And here just recently, where a lot of our efforts have been is on this disaster that actually came through this state here just recently. And so, obviously, you know, a lot of our producers were affected with that disaster, and we've had a lot of help with Steve Wellman and Governor Ricketts and working at trying to go through these counties and try to get transportation to these places so people can get feed into their livestock and things like that. But most of all, it's the producers themselves. And part of what they've had and the struggles that they've had, and there has just been a tremendous amount of outreach of people that want to try to help. And so we as the Nebraska Cattlemen put together the Nebraska Cattlemen Disaster Relief Fund. And this is for all cattle producers affected by the flood. And you don't have to be an NC member, it's for all cattle producers. And that's what's important to us because it's a rich and standing tradition. And these people, we really encourage them to go ahead and apply for this, where this application process is open now, and it'll be open till March 31st. And so...
March 31st?
Or May 31st,
Yeah,
excuse me. Oh, thank you, Governor.
We missed March 31st.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Maybe next year, but thank you, Governor. But really, it's something that we really highly encourage all these producers that have had some disastrous effects to their operation to be able to go ahead and apply for that. And it's just been a tremendous outreach in this fund that we have started. I mean, over 1,600 individuals, entities, and businesses have given to this fund, and it's just absolutely phenomenal. And your heart goes out to all these people, and their hearts go out to us. And so it's just been absolutely phenomenal, and it makes us proud. It makes us proud to be beef producers. But more than that, it makes us proud to be Nebraska beef producers, producing the best beef in the world. And after that, I'll leave it up to Buck here, and Buck, it's all yours.
Thank you, Governor, for inviting us here and letting us stand by your side and support you in this May is Beef Month. As he mentioned, I serve on the Nebraska Beef Council, and we administer the dollar checkoff for all the producers in Nebraska, all the cattle producers. And so it's a very interesting and fun task and a great responsibility. Our aim is to strengthen beef demand in the global marketplace. We have like 3 or 4 times as many cows as we have people, so obviously we have to export. Did we mention it's the biggest business in the state of Nebraska, cattle and beef? I think we did. And so exports are very important to us, not just domestic exports, but foreign exports. And so I've gotten to serve on a couple of trade missions with the governor, and as you see here, he's a tireless proponent of Nebraska, Nebraska's people, Nebraska's products, and does a great job, and we really appreciate that and enjoy supporting him in that. And so our efficient producers are happy to celebrate Beef Month with the great product that we produce. And once again, thank you for letting us be here and for naming May as Beef Month. Thank you.
Well, thanks again, Buck. And, one other thing that I do want to highlight is that when we're talking about the beef industry, obviously it's not just the beef industry, though, that it impacts. It impacts our corn and soybean producers, our feed grain, our processors, our packers, our grocery retailers. All these industries are impacted by the beef industry here in Nebraska. So it is something that really creates a lot of economic activity in our state, and we're very blessed to have such great people who are working in that industry.